Somewhere in the world, a parent will place their child into a crib, switch on a baby monitor, dim the lights, and quietly leave the room. The house will fall silent. A closed door, soft blankets, warm air, total safety. And nobody will think twice about it. But for almost the entire history of our species, that exact scene would have sounded insane. For more than 300,000 years, leaving a baby alone in the dark was almost the same thing as abandoning it to die. There were no walls, no locked doors, no medicine, no emergency numbers. Beyond the firelight were predators that could smell blood, milk, and human waste from astonishing distances. Leopards, hyenas, snakes, packs of scavengers waiting for weakness. And nothing in nature was weaker than a human infant. A newborn deer can stand within an hour. A baby chimpanzee can grip its mother's fur moments after birth. Even tiny primates instinctively cling to their mothers as they move through trees. A human baby can do almost nothing. It cannot walk. It cannot hold its head upright. It cannot regulate its own temperature properly. It cannot feed itself. It cannot even stay quiet when danger is nearby. And evolution made it that way on purpose, because the human brain created a problem no other animal had ever faced. Our heads became too large. If human babies stayed in the womb until their brains developed like other primates, childbirth would become physically impossible. The infant's skull simply would not fit through the birth canal. So evolution made a compromise. Humans began giving birth earlier and earlier in development. A chimpanzee enters the world with a brain around 40% of its adult size. Humans are born at only about 25%, which means most of your brain development happened after birth while you were completely helpless. That helplessness changed everything. The moment humans evolved larger brains, raising children became the hardest survival challenge our species had ever encountered. Every child represented years of vulnerability, years where the infant could not run, hide, defend itself, or survive alone for even a single night. And yet somehow, despite all of that, humans succeeded. Not only did we survive, we spread across deserts, jungles, mountains, ice fields, and eventually the entire planet. Which raises a terrifying question. How did ancient humans keep the most defenseless babies on Earth alive in one of the most dangerous worlds humans have ever lived in? Because the answer is not what modern civilization teaches us about parenting. For most people today, parenting is imagined as a small unit. One mother, one father, maybe one exhausted couple trying to survive on coffee, and 3 hours of sleep while a baby screams in the next room. We treat that setup as normal. But to ancient humans, it would have looked like a death sentence, because human beings did not evolve to raise children alone. In fact, anthropologists now believe our species may be one of the only primates on Earth that survived specifically because we learned how to share the burden of childcare. In 2009, anthropologist Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy published a groundbreaking book called Mothers and Others. Her argument completely changed the scientific understanding of human parenting. Humans, she argued, are not independent breeders like chimpanzees. We are cooperative breeders. That means human children were never meant to belong to only two people. They belonged to an entire group. A chimpanzee mother carries, feeds, protects, and raises her infant almost completely alone for years. She is intensely protective. If another chimp tries to touch her baby, she may attack instantly. Human mothers evolved the opposite strategy because a single human mother could not physically meet all the demands of a helpless infant for years without collapsing herself. The math simply didn't work. Human babies require enormous energy. Their brains consume staggering amounts of calories while developing. They wake constantly. They cry constantly. They must be carried constantly. And unlike other primates, they remain dependent for an unbelievably long time. So ancient humans solved the problem together. Among the Ife hunter-gatherers of the Congo rainforest, researchers observed something almost unimaginable to modern parents. A single infant was passed between roughly 14 different caregivers in just 8 hours. 14. The baby moved from arm to arm nearly every few minutes. Mothers, fathers, grandmothers, older siblings, cousins, neighbors, unrelated women, everyone participated. The mother herself held the infant less than half the time. Imagine that compared to modern life. Today, many parents spend entire days alone with a baby and no physical help whatsoever. No extra hands, no nearby family, no community constantly sharing the load. But for ancient humans, constant shared care was not kindness. It was survival infrastructure. Among the AK people of Central Africa, Anthropologist Barry Hewlett found that fathers stayed within arm's reach of their infants almost half the day. These men were not performing modern parenting ideals. They were living inside a system humans had relied on for hundreds of thousands of years. The baby was almost never alone, not because ancient humans were emotionally enlightened, because isolation was dangerous. A crying infant attracts attention. A tired mother makes mistakes. An exhausted caregiver becomes vulnerable, but a group can rotate responsibility. One person gathers food, while another carries the child. One sleeps while another watches the fire. One mother breastfeeds while another calms the baby. Human civilization may have begun with something far simpler than farming or tools. It may have begun the moment early humans realized survival depended on helping each other keep children alive. And this is where the modern world collides violently with human evolution. Because your nervous system still expects that tribe, your body still expects help. When modern parents feel overwhelmed, isolated, emotionally drained, or unable to cope alone, they often interpret it as personal failure. But for almost all of human history, no mother on Earth was expected to raise a child in isolation.